One of the more controversial characters within Dead by Daylight is surprisingly the Huntress. Other controversial characters I kind of understand, like Chucky or Skull Merchant, but the Huntress, at least to me, has always been a character that I've found to be okay and pretty balanced, all things considered. I still think that 7 hatchets is a bit too much, which does get brought up in this video later, don't worry. But in order to kind of discuss the Huntress in a more in-depth expertise kind of fashion, I brought together 3 Huntress mains in order to help me answer some other questions and talk a little bit more about their experiences playing the character and how they see the community views the character and more. So go ahead and kick up your feet and lay back to listen to a little over an hour of these 3 just kind of yapping their way through telling you about the Huntress. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. All right, so I've got my 3 guests. If you guys want to introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about what you do. 7, you're up first.
Hello, my name is 7. I play a ginormous amount of DBD. I used to be a Huntress one-trick pony for the most time. These days I have like over 15,000 hours in the game, and Huntress till this day is still my favorite killer in the game.
Okay, M?
I'm M. I'm a trans woman, and statistically I'm in the top 10 Hunty players.
Okay, Hexed?
I'm Hexed, and I play a lot of Huntress. I have about 3,500 to 4,000 hours dedicated into just her alone. And to match M, I'm in the top 20 Huntress players.
All right, and if you're on the YouTube, then everybody's links will be in the description. So if you like the sound of somebody here, then you can go ahead and go check them out. And if you're in the Twitch, then I am currently giving each of them shout outs so that you can go to their Twitch and follow them and all of that good shit. But for now, I think I want to start off with probably the most obvious question in my opinion, and that is, how do you guys feel about the perception of Huntress in general in terms of the community? Like, do you guys think that the community is okay with Huntress? Do you think that they hate Huntress? Do you, stuff like that? How do you feel Huntress is viewed in the community overall?
I think she's one of the top 5 most hated killers in the game.
I would agree.
Oh, for sure. especially every single time when there's issues with the servers or with the codes, where like slight inconvenient hits can happen, regardless like how bad or how good.
Yeah, I think she relies so much on like everybody having good ping, or just the server cooperating, period, because so many of her hits can look bad on one side but perfectly fine on another.
Also, the fact that people don't understand survivor hitboxes. A lot of people hate on the hatchet ones, but it's the survivor hitboxes that are really bad. So when people play like Cheryl, for instance, her hitbox is the same size as David, who is a lot thicker of a character. So when they get hit on David's screen, like the exact same hit behind a tree, for David it's gonna look normal, and on Cheryl it's gonna look weird as hell. And then a lot of people just hate her for that. And then
the running animation, right?
I was gonna say, yeah, you add the running animation to that, and then you run injured running animation too, because the hitbox lingers even more with the injured animation when they run, because they're leaning forward.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's so bad.
So a lot of the times those hits will look like they hit way behind, but that's actually where the hitbox resides, even though the character is leaning forward.
Where do you guys see Huntress in terms of power scaling?
I would say, like, if we're talking tier, low A, high B.
Yeah.
She's like a good middle field in between like all killers. I think she's one of those, together with Oni, which I think always have like been peak balance for me when it comes to strength. Because you have to be good. They can be very oppressive, but they also can like lose very quickly if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, or if the survivors know what they're doing. Like if a survivor like goes and denies as many hits as possible on Oni in the early game, Oni's just an M1 character. And it's kind of the same with Huntress. If you have somebody who's insanely good at breaking LOS and using their environment around them, well,
and when they know about every single spot where you can like throw over, and then they crouch perfectly when they cut the corner, everything, it becomes so obnoxious for the Huntress.
Yeah.
So you feel like most things in this game, Huntress is mostly just a knowledge check to play well against.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, especially like map knowledge, if you know, like Seven said, spots that she can throw through, then you can shut down a lot of health state steals.
If you watch a Huntress main face a Hunty, my favorite thing to do when I see the lullaby, like first 10 seconds of the game, is to fake run against the wall and then just wave. And if they have lethal and they're aiming at me, sometimes the hatchet just whizzes by my head. Like, you know what perks they have every single time, because you can run like 10 perks max. So, it's just, if you just know what a Huntress does, there's not much she can do. She's not...
That's so true.
Like, I'd be willing to argue she's actually B- in terms of like a tier list. Because as people get better and maps keep getting worse and worse, she just kind of keeps dropping.
Yeah, which always adds to, well, all Huntresses run Aura. Well, if you know we all run Aura, play like it.
Wait, do your Huntresses run Aura?
Yeah, you got 7 here of like Ruin and
always Pain Res Pop Bamboozle.
Not Dark Arrogance?
No.
Oh my god.
Anyone run Dark Arrogance in a while?
That's the best one.
That's the 1v1 comp demo players that run that bug.
Do you guys think that there is a like? We were talking about the hitboxes and like server ping and everything earlier, and I follow Hex and M on Twitter, and Seven and I just recently got acquainted. He's very cute. Do you guys? I watch you guys respond to a lot of Huntress like clips, people posting like, oh my god, can't believe this hit, oh my god, this is bullshit, or the classic chat does this hit because everybody thinks they're fucking funny. Whenever those kind of things pop up, how often are those complaints legitimate, and how often is it just people's lack of knowledge of how this fucking game works?
95% of the time it is the second one, so much so that I've muted the term does this hit from my Twitter.
Yeah.
I used to just block or mute the people.
Recently as of the last update, I think there's like a 150-50, to be honest.
Yeah, the desync right now is pretty rough.
It's horrible. But before, it's like literally like, I would even go as far as say 99% of the time. It's just the lack of people understanding hitboxes in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I was telling chat earlier, I was playing the Huntress games that people are seeing in the B-roll right now. And I was like, it's funny because when I play Huntress, my hitboxes are very precise, but when I play Survivor, the hatchets seem to be the size of a fridge.
I think I actually have a very good clip. I actually explained hitboxes a little bit, or like the hitbox size to people recently of the hatchet itself. Wait, let me show you. Where is it? Like that's a very, very good example to see like how small a hatchet hitbox actually is.
It's like a walnut, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and that's like part, I think, of the common problem is as people come into the community with their friends and stuff, they're often told by their friends and everything that, oh, Huntress has a massive hitbox. Like it's a community joke, you know, she throws a bus every time she throws a hatchet, but in reality, like the hatchet hitboxes are not that obscenely big.
If they were actually huge, you wouldn't be able to hit through the blood lodge holes.
Yeah,
my favorite shot to show off.
Well, I mean, you do have to remember though, there is the hitbox, and then there's also the collision box. So two different things.
Yeah, but that's what I mean by like
that's
it's a survivor hitbox thing typically.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah.
Like in that clip, the like actual hole is absolutely strangely formed and not very, very big, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know exactly which one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll play the clip on screen for the YouTube video. When I put it up. But yeah, so it's like I said, it's definitely there seems to be a lot of misconceptions around the character. I guess one of the biggest things I wanted to ask you guys was about some of the nerfs / buffs that people have suggested. I'll start with my biggest complaint, and then I'll get into ones that I don't really agree with. My biggest complaint was her 7 hatchet change. I feel like they need to revert it back to 5 and just normalize locker spawns. How do you guys feel about that?
So I watched literally last night your video about the buffs and nerfs to each killer that you posted a few days ago. They literally cannot revert that change without making her C tier, in my opinion. Because the weakest part of any killer's kit is when they have to hook people. That is the weakest part for Hunty, and she has no map mobility to back it up. Her chase is good, but since she has no map mobility, she has no traversal, she has to go to a locker to reload, you can't get anywhere. So the more often you have to reload, and adding more lockers does not fix this issue. It just means that on your way there, you're still taking 3 seconds to do the reload animation. You just don't have to go to, divert 2 extra seconds to the house. That's why the best killers in the game all have major mobility. Nurse goes through every single structure, Blight rushes, Billy has the entire chainsaw thing that's way too fast. Every single 3 of those killers after they're done hooking, they can get to a chase in 2 seconds. Hunty is a 4.4, has to waddle her thick thighs all the way over there. It doesn't work.
Do you think that 4.5 or 4.6 would be better for Huntress?
Did it work for Trickster?
Trickster mains disagree.
Not only that, but it made people hate Trickster even more.
It would make the counterplay to Huntress even more obnoxious, because then you would kind of drag people even more into the pre-drop pre-run kind of situation. Because now you can still play a long wall jungle gym or anything of sort, because you can still break line of sight, because the Huntress has to have decent wind up timings and give you then those 50-50 situations if you want to dodge out, if you just want to hold it down.
Yep.
And if you make her 4.6, then you basically take at least 1 loop away from them. And they'll have to just drop early, cut the corner, and then pray they make the right move next.
Yeah, and the only, I think, counter you could make is if you did make her 4.6, she'd have to be super slow with a hatchet up. To the point where you just wouldn't even want to use her hatchet.
Okay.
So I think her being 4.4, even though many of us joke, just make her 4.6, it'll be fine. 4.4 is undoubtedly where she belongs in movement speed, because anything more, it would make her way too oppressive.
Yeah, it would also take interactivity away. Just think about the nurse add-on that removes 1 blink but makes a 110. Then it starts being okay, you walk after the survivor, they go to a pallet, you wait till they drop it, and you just blink through and hit them. It just makes everything very, very stale, very fast.
Yeah, exactly. And people already find the fabled M1 to be one of the most unfun killers, because you're expecting hatchets and then you just get M1 the entire game. And it just makes why are you even playing her at that point? Why aren't you just playing Trapper or Wraith? Another actual M1 based killer.
Time for a Soldier Fury rework.
Don't even talk about that. that was such an insult of a perk, of an add-on, honestly.
Giving them so many good ideas for Eerie had something they never accepted it. It's so sad.
Well, I know M and this is kind of trailing a little bit off of topic, but I know M and I have had the discussion of why don't we simply have scoring events over 24 meters and implement Eerie Head as being Eerie
Deathlinger
coin
has
for
the add-on. Deathlinger has Eerie coin. This is what pisses me off so much. Deathlinger literally has Eerie coin that is range based insta downs, and Huntress does not. Basic Eerie Head change. You make it insta down further than 24 meters, but you lower the flight speed by 50%.
Now, I want to
It's a lot more fun.
To rework Eerie Head in a stealth add-on, that would be so funny. Together with Wood and Fox, imagine if you hit a survivor with a hatchet and you have Eerie Head equipped, and then they lose the ability to heal your lullaby for X amount of seconds. That'd be so heckin' scary.
Oh yeah, they'd have to remake it into, because lore-wise, you'd want that to be a toxin of some sort, most definitely.
That would be so cool.
That would also be the only way in the game to get rid of a lullaby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait, there was a brown add-on she used to have that was the toxin. They could just reuse that.
The Amania toxin, right?
Yeah.
No, that's the current one. That's the mushroom. She used to have one that was like 90 seconds of exhaustion, and then Venomous Concoction was 120.
True.
I'm forgetting the name of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
That's what they removed for the brown flight speed, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But so they still have the icon for it though, so they could just reuse that.
Yeah.
And then everyone gets really confused on when they look at the wiki page. Patch 2.0 applied 90 seconds of exhaustion, and then they go, "What the fuck?"
So some nerf suggestions that I've seen over time. One of the big ones that people have been asking for a while, which has frustrated me personally, is the idea of fatigue. The longer she holds up her hatchet, the longer the two suggestions were either longer cooldown after she throws it, or she throws it further, or if she holds it up for too long, she automatically puts it away. What's the look up there, guys?
It's like asking an FPS player that like religiously plays sniper to only start quickscoping for the rest of his life. You know, it's gonna be a little bit difficult.
The puts the hatchet away after holding it for someone is one of the dumbest fucking takes I've ever heard for a killer during my history of playing DBD for the past 4 years. I don't think people understand that if you make it too short, you can't play Huntress at all, because then it's literally you charge a hatchet, but they're behind a rock for 2 seconds, and you put it away. And then if it's too long, it just doesn't fucking matter, because then they're just gonna run around the corner and get hit anyway, and doesn't fix the zoning issue. There is no possible scenario where you can fix the zoning issue on Huntress that people often complain about, besides playing better. Because the zoning is always the survivor's fault. Position better. I don't know why you want to nerf Hunty for that. It's because you suck.
It's the example of, like, you see a survivor across the map, and they're already on the outside of the map, and they stay behind a box the entire time. You're traversing half the map, and you might not even have a hatchet held up. They're just too scared to move because they're afraid they could get hit by a hatchet. And they just continue to sit there and sit there and sit there and sit there until you're like 5 feet away, and then they run across the screen, and then they get hit, and they're like, "Oh, you zoned me."
I think the only reasonable thing for that issue, like in general, is punish a killer whenever they miss their power, right? A little bit more. Like if I throw a hatchet and I miss, like after the throw in general, if I get slowed down for a little bit longer or a little bit more, that I could understand for a nerf, right?
I think they just nerf the half add-ons.
Yeah, but just making everything in general worse just feels bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say if they just nerfed half add-ons, that would help.
Because every Huntress
in that situation.
OCAP is your best add-on.
I mean, I don't.
That's arguable.
You're a Rose Root for 2 years.
I would still think Windup is still the strongest, just because of how maps have been recently.
With all the clutter, yeah.
I mean, I think Windup's good, but I think if you know what you're doing, I think cooldown with OCAP is just more of a universal, like, every single add-on combination you want to do has OCAP pretty much in it, or Babushka. But for, like, the amount of, like, I'm one of the few people that thinks double halved is her best add-on combination instead of OCAP Babushka for wind-up speed. I think it's double half, because the amount of times you can throw a hatchet, and then the P100 Nancy player tries spinning in a circle as she gets hit, so she gets no distance, and then she vaults the window, so you just insta-down her, is way too often.
I don't know why. That feels like shade to somebody.
Oh, it is. I'll say it's Lee. Lee's Gaming. I give them shit.
No, I still
see,
think
my brain's different. I went
the
to core.
strongest you can do.
Core too. I downed Core in the one of the charity tourneys by doing that twice.
We love you, Core.
Did you guys see the Gorbo clip where he was like holding up a hatchet and the survivor was just like running in a straight line for like 20 seconds along the edge? Yeah. And then when he finally decided to move in the wide open, Gorbo threw the hatchet, and Gorbo was like, "This is why I don't like Huntress."
So
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that, and I was like, could you guys please give better examples of why you don't like a character other than a survivor playing bad?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the clip where they run past a bunch of rocks that they could use to break line of sight, and the fact that they're using OCAF, so and then they also try spinning in a circle, so they get noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was.
I love Gorbo to
things
death,
like
but
that.
that was such a bad clip.
Yeah, it's things like that that make it hard to have serious conversations because you're ignoring so many things in that example of why you don't like something.
And they don't want to get more specific stuff because she's so played. They they don't want to go get an actual good example because they don't want to realize that when you face the most played character and you keep dying, you're like, oh, well, it's not my fault because you face her too much to want to go analyze.
Yeah.
Like when people play back against a hag, it's like just, obviously I don't face hag that often, so I don't really care. When you face Hunty, you just get heated, and the thing that people suck at is saying that I'm the issue here every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's just DBD in general. It's the collective just being able to say, like, I might have fucked up here. This might have been my bad. Like, well, how could I have done something better? Instead, it's just easier to blame the other side, whatever you're going against, the devs, the map, the power, the add-on, the perk, like whatever it might be, because it's just easier to cope that way.
Yeah, and I didn't just bring up the Gorbo clip because, you know, like I said, I didn't bring it up because I love Gorbo. I think Gorbo, especially like their analysis videos are like really, really fun to watch. But I brought it up because my next question was, how much do you guys feel like this community kind of ignores the obvious stuff toward Huntress in favor of, you know, making these clips and these community posts and these breakdowns about why they think the character is bad? I could go off on tons of ideas for stupid nerfs, like she can only reload one hatchet at a time. That's a real fucking thing that I saw.
Oh my god.
The fatigue, probably it was. I almost 100% it was. The fatigue thing that we talked about. You know, I've seen so many different things, and we talked about like how much of Huntress is a knowledge check. But for you guys, do you feel like there's anything like maybe that the devs could do or that the community could do that could help alleviate this problem of people just not understanding this character?
I think in general, DBD needs to add better tutorials in the first place.
Yeah, that's been a long time though.
What the DBD could really do is like use their Fog Whisperer program or whatever, and then I don't know, make an official DBD YouTube channel, and then the Fog Whisperers can do like gameplay guides, introduce the killers. They're basically like the League of Legends stuff does whenever they like release a new champion that explains like the power and how to use it and stuff. That'd be so
and it
cool
could
in
be.
general.
It could be a really interesting way to not only highlight, you know, the Fog Whisperers themselves, who, I mean, I think a lot of people would consider to be underused. Yeah. But it would also allow the Fog Whisperers to highlight members of the community that maybe specialize in certain killers or in specific specialties, like somebody who's insanely good at looping, you know, like things like that. I think that would be a pretty solid idea. Like if behavior doesn't have the bandwidth to do it themselves, why not use the people that are, you know, like their media front to further boost knowledge on all the killers in the game and, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, especially with Behavior's roadmap, like the past years where they like keep pushing on changes and fixes and reworks. Like, how many people do you think know how current Sadako works or how current Skull Merchant works after all the changes and changes and changes?
I have no idea how Sadako works.
I was gonna say there's a lot of people that
I know how Skull Merchant works, but that's because I play Skull Merchant. I don't know how Sadako functions anymore.
It's been getting ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And that's like the thing. That's why stuff like videos on how to explain them do like so well, because no one has an idea. If they really took like the initiative and release like guides or anything on like a public available channel that they can literally advertise on their social media, yada yada yada, I think it would be way less frustrating for a lot of survivor players or killer players in the community.
Well, yeah, because like right now people have to, okay, I want to learn about this killer. Okay, now you have to find a streamer, a content creator that covers specifically that killer in order to have a better understanding of how that killer functions, what their ceiling is, what their floor is, like all those things. And that could be a lot for somebody that's newer to the game, trying to understand everything that is DBD, because like I know a lot of people say like DBD is shallow. It's just you chase and you kill. It's simple, but with the amount of killers that exist and the powers and the counterplays for their powers, like that's a lot to learn for a new player. And when you have to seek it out in such a new territory through content creators and not the brand itself, I think that makes it very difficult to kind of get a grasp on the game in general, let alone the killers you're facing.
Yeah, like especially for new players, right? Because the concept of DBD as a game itself is like pretty quote unquote new, right? Because like FPS games or mobile games you had in the game or on online like forever, but the whole concept of getting in, doing an objective, trying to survive while you have another player trying to stop you from it is not really something that people are used to yet, right? All the DBD kind of clones aren't really doing that well, that you could really have transferable skill.
Isn't TCM dying soon? I saw someone recently, it was like literally 2 hours of a random guy just ranting about TCM. But one thing that I think a lot of people don't know is that for DBD and games in general, I think it's on average 5% or less interact with content creation. Like in terms of watching Twitch and YouTube of the player base. Most people just hop in, play, and then get off. So I think no matter what, I would love if they'd use their Fog Whisperer programs like more. They have to put something in the in-game tutorial section for it to actually matter for the like overall player base. So like in the store, they added you can like watch Moris. I don't understand why if I go to the tutorial, I can't see a video or click on a video to watch in-game of like, this is how you disarm trapper traps. Be wary, they might be in grass sometimes and be hard to spot. And that like already makes people be like, oh, okay, so Trapper's probably gonna want to play like, instead of putting them inside the pallet, maybe go for that grass right there. I'm gonna go look at the grass. So it's like stuff like Hunty where it's like, Huntress specifically, it's like, be wary, she charges up hatchets and you can't move when you vault a window. Skilled players might aim for some really spectacular shots, and then they show like the back window of Shack, because that's a really common tile that's on every single map pretty much, and like that's one of the first Hunty shots people learn. But just having an in-game video for people to be like, whoa, I didn't know a Hunty could hit that, already makes you more scared of a Huntress and makes people more like, okay, I need to learn a lot about this game. Like that, using an example that was recent was they tweeted out or they published like singularity data. It was like 2.3 EMPs is the average. And a lot of people are like, whoa, why aren't people using EMPs in a match? I'm like, I'm not surprised at all. Singularity isn't commonly played, I don't think. I think he got higher since his buffs, but like, he's not commonly played. If you're new to the game, you already don't know what's happening. And then you have a killer who has EMP boxes, scans you with like what seems to be cameras, and then he puts a meatball on your back, and then he can teleport to you. And then he's faster doing that with haste, and then you can't stun him during it. And then he also vaults faster. And then like you're like, how do I get rid of this ball? And it's like you EMP with that, but the EMPs don't get auto-completed. You have to go to the crate and touch it. It's like that's 12 different things for a player that already has to do with 46 killers, whatever we're at.
Yeah, and I mean, Nightlight has about a 1.8% pick rate, so...
Yeah, it's like, what are the chances you're gonna get 10 singularities in a row and then figure out what's happening?
Right.
And there's no in-game tutorial for it. You have to face 10 singularities. And it's
you can try reading that, like, 50 paragraph, 10-page power that they have.
I don't even know where you can read that anymore.
You need honest, a PhD for some of these.
They changed the UI. I don't know where I can read power descriptions until I buy the killer.
I think you can go into the shop and like click on it.
Yeah, there's like a little info button in the shop now.
Yeah. The fact that I don't know, as someone with almost 8k hours, like someone with 2 hours isn't gonna know either.
It was really amazing because before, if you were like in your normal killer lobby screen, you would press F1 on PC, right? And then the whole thing would pop up. If you try that now, nothing happens. It's like, what happened? Did I break my lobby? Because they put it in the shop now somewhere.
But why is it in the shop instead of on the menu when I already own the killer? If I want to look at Huntress and what her kit does, why do I have to go into the store and then look at shit? It's like, dude, they just want me to buy the stupid wear out cosmetic for $25.
So, thoughts on thoughts on this on this phrase, and then I have another phrase that I want to get your thoughts on. Just general, what the vibe you get about the person saying it or the phrase itself. It doesn't matter which. The first one is, I only like playing against Huntress when they are going for trick shots and orbitals.
That's a fun survivor.
P100 Nia Blur.
That is a server that goes into the game and hopes the killer plays to lose.
You know what that reminds me of? Old Billy with double engravings, where I only like Billies that go for curves. That's what that is. It's a person who only wants to face killers that have too much time in the game and don't want to like try to win anymore.
But I think it's also somebody that has like a massive amount of respect too for those like skill ceilings, more or less.
Yeah,
that's somebody that finds that like, oh, like thrilling and exciting, because I mean it is kind of like unfun when you load into a match, especially if it is your main, and you're like, oh, I'm so excited to, you know, go against somebody that's skilled, and then it's just like the most basic gameplay ever with them. So like I can definitely understand, you know, coming from that angle of being like, oh man, I really want to face an orbital huntress. I never face orbital huntresses ever. And
it's so weird.
I would love to go against that because I don't know really what that experience is. Like, I provide the experience, but I don't experience it myself.
I find it intriguing because orbitals aren't even hard anymore. You just set your FOV at 92 and you just look up.
It's like cooking after a cookbook, right? But no, on the other hand, like facing those M2 heavy killers, if you know they will only go for the M2, then the counterplay also becomes obnoxiously easy, to be honest, compared to if there's a threat of them zoning and M1ing you. Like take a curve Billy. Like what you're gonna do if the Billy is like threatening to only M1 you the entire time? I just like camp this window and slow bolt it in his face. What he's gonna do, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, and the second phrase is, I don't have respect for Huntress players who only use aura reading perks.
You're bad. No, I get complaints like that in EGC a lot. My instant reply is, "What would you like to run me? What would you like me to run instead?" And then they instantly leave the lobby. I have never gotten an actual response to my question. Because they know, deep down, there is no other perk for Hunty to run that doesn't relate to a more boring match in terms of slow down for heals or gens or whatever.
But you don't want me to run double halved with bamboozle and brutal strength and just zone you to the corner and run you down while just holding my hatchet to double tap you in the corner?
What do you mean you're not running Beast of Prey? That is the best Hunty perk.
I don't know, dude. Territorial Imperative is pretty strong these days.
I unironically ran that. Leading up to Sable's release, I ran it for 2 weeks. I got value twice.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all.
What most people think whenever they say stuff like, "Oh, aura reading on Huntress, like so boring, so free," is they think that this aura stuff plays the game for you. Like,
oh yeah, no, because it's the same idea of like almost of Windows. See yellow, run yellow. It's the same thing. Yeah. It's like people are like, "Oh, see red, throw red," and it's like there's a lot more that goes into that, especially when you're hitting like cross maps and trick shots and stuff like that. It's not just see red, throw red, and that also brings in the conversation of crosshairs. Or people are like, "Oh, well, if you run a crosshair, you're gonna hit every time," and it's like, well, no, because I'm not aiming at the middle of my screen when I'm throwing at you across the map. Like,
because I feel like that argument is like a double-edged sword, because in one way they have a little bit of truth behind it, right? Because it takes away a little bit of your attention span that you have to offer into a chase. You can have less map awareness for the moment because the aura will tell you depending on the perk you're running, and you're also doing a little bit like cooking after cookbook. But at the end of the day, if I'm not a good Huntress, if I'm not mechanically good, if I don't know my hitboxes, then any aura in the game will do jack shit for me, right?
Yeah.
My problem is that people in public lobbies play so weird. They're so weird, and there's tome challenges, so sometimes they're just like rubbing their nips in the middle of the map, doing like a glyph or something, and it's like, okay, well, why would I assume you're there instead of on the generator in, like, the dead zone that you should be prioritizing? Because if I find you there, you just instantly die. That's why, like, in comp, for instance, I would never run aura reading. Because it's like, I already know where they're all at. they're on 3 separate gens in these areas, just boop, boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop, boop.
Right.
You know which way they
I'm
most
hitting there.
likely going to rotate for saves, where they want to put pressure, yada yada yada.
Yeah, so it's like, why would I not run aura reading in pubs where like people play so weirdly, and I know that I'm good enough to where I don't really need slowdown for these people. And then like if I knew I was facing like, I don't know, what's a known, is it still Eternal? Is Eternal still the well-known one? I don't keep
Yeah,
up with them.
like Eternal Elysium.
Yeah,
these
so
kind
if
of
I'm
things.
facing like Eternal or something, like I'm probably gonna put on like better perks like Dark Arrogance and then like 3 slowdown or something. Maybe Brutal Strength instead of one of them, but
What people don't figure out, like from the core, if you really want to win a game, Huntress is not really a fun killer to face. Because what you're gonna do with Huntress is you play around basements, you play around proxy camping, you play around gen areas. Like if you have 3, 4, 5 gens that are very close together, you never leave that area. And then you just pressure from the distance, you get attack here, you get attack here, and then you camp someone to death. It's like so absolutely boring if you're not playing like the whole like aura fun trick shot playstyle, to be honest.
Right, and that's why people tend to not like Huntress matches in comp, because that's exactly what it is. It's just stand at hook, hatchet held up,
Yeah, put
and
someone in
attack
basement.
people that come in. Yeah.
And if you're not going down with like 3 people, you're just trading.
I almost got into a showcase for Hunty and comp, and then I don't think it ever ended up happening. Because I still stand by, I think a Hunty who's good enough can tie or do better than a proxying Hunty, and I especially believe that now that they buffed hook times by 10 seconds to 140 in total. Because I said that back when the hook states were 60 seconds each, and now they're 70. So now I fully believe you can tie a proxying Hunty if you're good enough with chases. But I also don't think, like, recently, Carnivorous, one of my friends did, like, that slugging experiment, which I participated in, where, like, you slug people, and you can only hook when everyone's on the ground. In good faith, I mean this in the nicest way possible, if you are playing Huntress, you should always have at least one person slugged. You down one person, and you never pick them up for the rest of the game. You can hook other people after that, but just having one person slugged, or even better, the whole team, just basically guarantees you a win in public lobbies. Because you always know where at least 2 people are if you leave them slugged, and then if you get them into a snowball situation where you down one person and then you hook the other one, so you know where the whole team is. Because one person has to go for the slug and one person has to go for the hook, especially if you start chasing someone else. I forgot what we were originally talking about.
Well, that's good. So we have 2 more things. The first thing is if there was one, like you had complete freedom to make one singular change to Huntress, what would it be?
Hits that are further than 24 meters away give you haste. I think you should get rewarded for snipes.
I would generally just change the Eerie Head add-on to whenever you hit someone with a hatchet, they lose the ability to hear your lullaby for like 30 seconds. I just want to go away from this like very, very boring exposed kind of thing and make it to complement her power a little bit better and get a little bit more into her weakness, because Huntress, for example, is very difficult to do like stealth builds with, because you maybe have I don't know, indoor maps and wooden forks or anything, but you still have this like very oppressively loud lullaby, and I think rewarding that for already getting a hit and then having like a little bit more of a scare factor to being able, hey, I have a 20-meter terror radius, maybe I can captivate it now.
Yeah,
Would be kind of cool.
I'm a little on the fence with that, because I think a lot of it is psychological with people, because they listen so much to the lullaby that they forget that you don't have a tear radius if you're doing a stealth build. So then you often just get people off of that because they usually don't pre-run until they get the tear radius. So that's why, like, with or without the lullaby, I still think it's somewhat possible to pull off stealth builds because of the psychological side of it, of people just being so used to hearing it that they disregard it a lot of the times, especially more seasoned players. They tend to just disregard the lullaby completely. But I don't know. I just want something more rewarding for her 24 meter plus stuff. Because, like, one, it's an achievement. It's in the game. It's a trackable thing, getting hits over 24 meters. So why is there nothing for it in any way, shape, or form other than, good job, you got the achievement? Like, there's nothing that incentivizes that type of play other than just the feeling of being able to hit somebody, cross map or, going for those trick shots or orbitals or whatever. There's really nothing that incentivizes it in any other way, shape, or form other than just go do the achievement. So like having something in her kit that lean towards that, I think would be fun.
Can I change my answer to reverting the belt add-ons? Because I still think there was nothing wrong in Hatchet Hunter. I stand by that. I know a lot of people, I know Otts made a video on it, where it's like, I'm not allowed to reload, and I have 10 hatchets. And then I watched that video, and he threw literally not at all, he just zoned people.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, though, is that it was close to achievable even before that. Like, if you're just going for zone hits and locked hits where you're guaranteed to get your hatchets, like, yeah. Like,
you can do it with 5.
Yeah.
Like, I hate those new belt add-ons so much. They're so...
I mean, anything that is just like, oh, we don't know what to do with it, haste, is bad.
It's not even good haste. Isn't it like... Hold up.
It's like 2 and 3%.
Yeah, and it's like haste just for 5 seconds after hitting. It's like not even very impactful. It's like that unknown vault perk that nobody uses.
Yeah, 3% haste for 5 seconds, but it doesn't take into consideration the fact that you're still in cooldown after you hit somebody. If
yeah, so you're still slower than 4.4.
So you're still slower.
Yeah. It's like loose crank for Wesker, it's like a copy of metal.
And it's a purple. It's not even like a brown. It's literally 3% haste for 5 seconds, or 5 seconds of order reading with glowing concoction. Like,
honestly, I remember like when that add-on was still purple and gave me 2 extra hatches. That was like one of my favorite add-ons. I was like every single blood, I was like, I get this. And now I'm sitting on like 5,000, 6,000 of those add-ons. I'm like, okay, what do I do with this?
Yeah. Dude, there's just so many add-ons sitting in inventory that are just, I don't know, useless.
You don't like Core Stone?
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite. I love not.
to be fair, if you see it like this, like if you're already having a base power that is like satisfying enough that you don't really feel like those kind of add-ons do anything for you, it's already a good thing to have, right? There's like a luxury problem to complain about.
Yeah, no. Where your power isn't determined by all the add-ons that you have to run.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%.
And in the very last question I wanted to ask before we do our final words and wrap up is, in the event that behavior kind of listens to the community talking about how much they don't like Huntress and things like that, what is the things you hope that behavior leaves alone that you've heard the community complain about on a regular basis?
If they add in that really stupid Huntress's arm gets tired and she puts the hatchet away. I swear to God, I'm swapping to my P100 Scully and I'm not getting off her.
Yeah, that's like the one thing I'm really scared about. Like one day I wake up and they say, oh yeah, we're adding a fatigue mechanic to the Huntress, but now when the Huntress winds up 25 times, she goes in overdrive and her projectiles have 500% speed for 10 seconds.
Thank you. It's literally every set of patch notes that come out. This is my process anymore. Is I'm like, oh wow, DBD posted something about patch notes, hotfix. Cool.
F.
I literally click on it, Control F Huntress. Oh, I don't care. There, she's not in there. Good. Let's go to something else. Back to playing the game.
If I see her pop up on that change list, I'm gonna be like arugula and start fucking sobbing like she did with play.
I mean, to be fair, when she was on the change list the first time, I was terrified.
I was scared
that they were just gonna straight up kill her, because there's like it's the loud majority type of thing, there's so many people that don't like Huntress for the hits and all that kind of stuff, and because a lot of people want to treat her like an M1 killer for some weird reason. I don't know why. When people face her, they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna pick the long wall that's also very short to loop her at, where she can just hit over it.
Right? It works.
Right. Dude, I have this conversation all the time on stream. I'm like, one of the biggest problems with people counterplaying Huntress is they treat her like she's an M1 killer. She's not. She's an M2 killer. If you loop her around a long wall that's low versus a short wall that's high, I don't know what to tell you, because I could just throw over the long wall and hit you anyway. But I can't throw over the short wall that's tall.
When people
Pick one.
loop Shack and they go for the window instead of just... I never understood. There's people who loop Shack like she's a standard M1. The way you loop Shack against Hunty is that you take the back wall where there is no vault location, and then you just run that twice, and then you drop the pallet.
Yep.
Like, it's because if you run from where the pallet is, and then you crouch in the corner, the only map she can hit you on consistently is Auto Haven because there's a table there instead of just like a big box that's just like a... And then you just hide. Like on Cold Wind, there's 2 hay bales. You just hide in that corner, and she has to kick the pallet. And like if she has brutal strength, sure she might be able to hit you with double windup after that, but you should still be able to escape Shack if you're not like literally doing nothing and not paying attention.
No, that's really cross-balanced landing off the staircase.
I was gonna say, at the end of the day too, it's also just, it's about buying time.
Exactly.
It's not about, you know, running the Huntress forever. And this is with any situation, you just want to buy time for your team to get as much of the gen done as possible. And I think that's a common thing that's been lost in the game, is it's always now about like chase time and not like how much time am I buying for my team.
I feel like a lot of people still have this mindset of, I have to be able to run every killer for 5 gens.
Which is crazy, because I don't think you can with modern...
Right?
They keep
You have to
maps so hard.
These days,
like,
you have to run a killer like realistically for 80 seconds, and that killer will lose 3 gens, which is insane.
But like if you get onto like I think the only map you can still run for 5 gens is like Father Campbell's Chapel.
If you get a good main building,
or a Shack setup, like you have long wall jungle gym window facing Shack window and then fill up pattern right behind, and then you can go to strong main building window. That's disgusting sometimes.
Yeah, the main building on FCC can carry super fucking hard.
And that's all I had for today for you guys. I guess the last thing I want to ask is there anything you guys want to say to Twitch chat or people watching the YouTube and things like that?
If I swear to God.
I think the only thing I can say is like everyone that has like problems with Huntress in any way, shape, or form, whether like playing her, playing against her, I would definitely recommend just picking her up and trying to like, play and spam her for a while.
Yeah,
you'll definitely get a new point of view on how this killer works and like how frustrating, rewarding, and how much of an emotional roller coaster this character actually can be.
I agree. And I would say especially too, ever since maps have become like more cluttered, I think a lot of people have that clouded judgment that she's still the fabled like A+ super strong killer, and people kind of treat like every single Huntress that they go against is that, and she's far from that these days. Like there's a reason that there's a handful of Huntress mains that dropped Huntress once maps started getting more cluttered and hitboxes started getting weirder and stuff like that, is because she's not as strong as I think most of the community likes to think she is.
Yeah, like the only way she can seem like an A-tier killer now is when you're really that 10,000 plus hour Huntress connoisseur that knows every single spot and knows like the survivors better than they know themselves. It's crazy.
Ryokion went to Spirit, didn't she?
Yeah. I mean, Ray still plays Huntress every now and then because I sit and stream, but a lot of the content is switched to Spirit. Yeah,
I know. Well, Pixie went from Nurse to Huntress and then went back to Nurse. Which is funny.
I mean, if you compare my like 17-hour Huntress streams back in the days to me like now playing every other killer as well for probably more time sometimes than I play Huntress, is also like I literally this game is Huntress by Daylight for me when it comes to killer, because like I just don't find other killers fun anymore. Like I've just found so much enjoyment in playing her that I mainly only play Huntress. I'll still play like other killers here and there, but like I don't know, it's just it's hard when everybody's like, oh, she's just like the easiest thing in the world, she's super strong, blah 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 blah. I'm like, if you sit back and go from like old DBD where maps were much more open, way less clutter, to what it is now, even in just my time from maining her from like 2021-ish until now, like there's been a drastic change in how much power she's had.
And then you consider like I think all three of us have not played Hunty as much, because I think Hex has gone off to play more Survivor, and Seven's doing Variety Killer, and then I've started playing my other P100s more, because it's just like I've started just asking my chat like, what killer do you guys want to see? Because when I want to play Hunty, there's three things that happen. I get actual normal games, and then I'm on her for 6 hours. People give up immediately, which is a huge issue just around the game right now, is people giving up and DCing all the time. And I want people to know, every single time you think to yourself, wow, that's such a bullshit hit, that Huntress has probably gotten 2 hatchet sounds that have hit people dead center that did not go through, that I have called dedicated hatchets. So every single time I get one of those, I just don't play her for the rest of the night. Because there is constantly... My like 2 of my most recent videos on YouTube, which is a no loadout Huntress game, which I've started doing no loadout hunties when I want to play her, but people give up all the time. It is a no loadout game, and then another one specifically talking about dedicated hits. Both matches, I got 3 dedicated hits. The Dead Dog one, everyone still dies at 5 gens because they suck. The other one, I almost lost because the first hatchet, it was on Ironworks of Misery. And they were going up the stairs, mattered so much for that first down that it made the chase take an extra like minute and a half, which made for like 3 gens pop. And then I get 2 more dedicated hatchets towards the end of the round where I'm trying to slug everybody while all 5 gens are done. And it's like, when you have a round like that, it's really frustrating because well, I could have stopped this round 3 gens ago if that hatchet went through, and it should have gone through. And I don't know on their screen, because I faced someone recently at 2 a.m. on Larry's. It was one of my viewers named Unknown, who played Hunty on Larry's. They had 2 dedicated hatchets on me. And on my screen, the hatchet literally went through my body and did not count as a hit. And I literally said out loud, what the fuck, that should have hit me, because I was not playing great, because it's 2 a.m. and I don't care. And it's like, what are you supposed to do? Like, I don't... Because then it's like, oh, I want to go play... I just play Billy now. Because Billy's like, he's strong, it's easy wins, and he's still fun, because I get to do curves, and I get to go around the entire map and down people.
I've been playing so much Blight.
Yeah, and then it's like, if I want to play Demo, they keep adding vertical walls everywhere, because I can't go off ledges. And then Skull Merchant had her recent entire nuclear shotgun into the mouth pull both triggers. Like, she's dead, unless you really like her, which I do, so I still play her, but it's like... Every single killer that I like playing kind of just keeps getting canned because of whatever weird design they have going on in their office. And then that's just, if I don't have the issues that happen from the foundations of this game, people just give up. And it's like,
funny enough, like the other day I actually did like a streak of quote-unquote games where people didn't give up. Yeah, and I made it to 5 games, and then a viewer was like, "Can you please play Huntress for a round?" And I played Huntress. Like my lethal didn't even end yet. There was this Maria looking straight at me, and suddenly I hear the DC sound. Like, wow.
I tweeted out recently a picture of 4 people who DC'd against my Hunty. I'm like, I subbed for 1 beamer, and I will say, I should have tweeted the clip instead of the screenshot. Which, because it made people assume I was slugging all game.
Yeah.
The clip was me finding people with lethal. I down 1. By the time I get to her as a 4.4, she'd be under a pallet, and there's a Zarina with a flashlight, so I assume background player. I down Zarina, she DCs, other person who's already slugged also DCs. And the comments were either assuming that I was slugging everybody, which, you know, should have tweeted the clip, that's on me. The other ones were, well, you're playing Huntress, I'd give up too. How is that my problem? And then I made one guy delete their comment because I fucking ratioed them so hard. Where I'm like, you are the problem with DBD. If I went and played Oni, there's a 1 in 4 chance one of your one of the survivors I'm facing just doesn't want to face Oni that day. So then they just go next. And it's like, how am I as a killer player supposed to be like nice and understanding anymore when I know that there's a 1 in 4 chance that whatever killer I'm playing, people just don't want to face right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could play the rarest killer in the game, Hag or Twins, which I know aren't commonly liked because people suck and don't know how to face them, which I know I could phrase that nicer, but I'm tired.
I mean, it does get hard though, like when you want to just get on and play a game of Huntress, and then like people just DC and they're like, oh well, it's Huntress, I see millions of them, and I'm sitting here like, bro, I would take 2. I never see anybody play Huntress.
I
never go against Huntress, and it's just
I'm telling you, I
understand, like some days
for the past weeks, and all I'm facing is Blight. Every single day.
I mean, like some days, like,
you
do get that like weird. Okay, I just got like the same 5 killers in a row, but like. I do not ever see anybody playing Huntress, and I play on stream more often than not lately because of like the desync issues with Huntress and the dedicated hits and all this kind of stuff. I've been playing more Survivor than anything, and I can go literally like 5-6 streams and never see a Huntress, and I'm playing like 5 hours of DBD.
Yep.
I had someone tell me in the Crow Read tweets who there's someone who followed me and a lot of my mutuals follow, and I'm like, I respect this person, so I only muted them. I didn't block them from Dead Out, but their exact thing was, well, who cares, just go next. When I tweeted that, I was 4 hours into playing Hunty, and I was holding on to a notepad that reached 28 matches before I just ended stream. It was 28 matches of someone giving up or DCing before 2 gens got done.
Oh yeah, the give up epidemic is ridiculous. We had a game earlier, I was playing Clown. I wasn't trying, I wasn't sweating. I found a Sable early on in the game. I'm not paying attention. I'm literally singing.
You're singing about cocaine up your ass.
Yeah. It says there's a Stephen Lynch song called 3 Balloons. It's one of my favorite comedy songs of all time, and it's literally about an airplane pilot who smuggles drugs in his asshole. And so I'm singing that at the top of my lungs, and I happened to down the Sable, and she just insta gave up on Hook. And it was like, I wasn't even trying. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are you like this?
And what sucks is that I don't know when you're going to post this, but recording this on November the 3rd. Next week, 2v8 comes back. And
I'm so excited.
I'm not. I'm gonna hate that week. Because during that week, I plan to do like a 12-hour stream for my birthday of just BBD. And it's like, when I go live, the queues are gonna be 30 minutes for killer, because I doubt they're gonna fix that. And I wish I could not have that doubt, but at the end of the day, and I hate saying this, it's behavior. It takes them 2 years to fix a really basic thing sometimes, even if it's just a number change. And it's like, I wish I could trust in them and fix that, but
I don't think that's like the issue, though. I think the issue that we had with queue times, the issue that we had with queue times like last time was because there was a lot of people that it was the first time people got to play with their friends as killers, so there was like the novelty of that. But not only that, you had survivors that couldn't do anything but gens and chase. That was
here's my thing. I queued 1v4. It was still 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And again though, but that's because you have that novelty of there's so many people. I had so many people that literally only play Survivor come to me and be like, hey, I want to play killer with you.
But
so like you had a huge detraction from people playing Survivor because of the first time that this was ever in Dead by Daylight. I think now that the novelty is kind of like broken away, queue times alone are going to get better, not only because of that, but also with the whole addition of being able to save now.
If they get better, I would love to be wrong on this, but right now I'm assuming it's going to be last time. And after 2v8, it got 10 times worse for give-ups against Hunty because everyone faced her in 2v8. Everyone agrees on that, I think.
I mean, she has the highest pick rate.
Yeah, and her queues were the longest. So then when I go into 1v4 and I have to wait 15 minutes just to have people give up anyway, I'm like, I'm not excited for that to happen again, especially because people are already doing that with like 30-second queues. So right now, like, do I really want to wait for 2v8 to come out next week, queue up for 30 minutes as Hunty, and then have someone instantly give up? Not really. And then on the Survivor side, if I want to play Serve, people are going to do that anyway because their queues are going to be 5 seconds. And it's like, well, I don't want to face a clown right now, and then they go next. It's like...
yeah. Well...
I don't know what to do besides ask behavior to make giving up or DCing more punishing. And then when I say that, people are like, oh, but... people buy the video game, they should be able to give up if they're not having fun.
This is
ignoring the fact that it's for other people.
This is the only game in existence where griefing your teammates is defensible, is like defended by like half the community. It's literally the only one. But that's a discussion for another day. For now, I'm going to call it. But I wanted to thank you guys for coming on. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate this. Keep your DMs open because you never know when I'm going to need your expertise again. And if you want to join me in thanking my channel members over on the YouTube, listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much. I'm sure these 3 beautiful people love you as well. And we will see you in the next one. Need more Kaiser in your life? Well, I've got you covered. Check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload full gameplays, stream compilations, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also upload a daily short with all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.